Roll call, please.
Dominic, Johnson, Williams, Lynn, Bowman, Baker, Lynch, Escaday, Thibodeau, Cox, Smith, Epperson. We have a quorum, Mr. President.
All right. An invocation by Mr. Williams and pledge by Mr. Cox.
Ted, bow your head. Father, in the name of Jesus, we pray. We pray for this meeting, Lord. We pray that we have peace. Let this meeting be pleasing in thy sight, Lord. Let us be about your will, not ours. We pray for our country. Pray for our leaders. Pray for our veterans and all the families that are homeless, God. And Lord, we are hoping that we would do what is right. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everyone will please face the flag and the popular salute. Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any agenda additions? Now the rest of it. Citizens' comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return to the president or clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. And I've got a few cards here. David Hanson, please give us your name and address when you come to the microphone, please.
David Hanson, Mayor of Town of Greenwood. I want to thank Mr. President for the time to allow me to speak to you today. And I'm here to say thank you to the commissioners, to all the board of the commission, Mr. Wilson. You've got a great team of commissioners here, and for all that you've, I want to thank you for on behalf of the town of Greenwood and appreciate all that you've done for Greenwood. And I want to especially thank you for the sports complex seed money that was awarded for Greenwood for a sports complex. It has been kicked off, it is ongoing, and we are looking forward to be playing ball out in Greenwood. And for Commissioner Dominic, who's offered up some help to assist us. And I'm here today to especially thank Mr. Ken Epperson, the District 12 Commissioner. Ken has represented his district well. And Ken, I want to say to you, I appreciate those annual meetings that you have out in Greenwood and tell the citizens, inform the citizens of what's going on. I want to thank you very much. And thank you to the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to the next speaker, I want to recognize Representative Barbara Norton in the audience today. Came to visit. Nice to see you. All right, next speaker, Ms. Sonia Landry.
I'm here this afternoon on behalf of the Shreveport Sun, which is a partner with the Caddo Citizen, and will become an official journal, the next official journal for this year. I'm the editor of the Shreveport Sun. The Shreveport Sun is the oldest black weekly here in the state. We were founded in 1920. In November of this year, we will be 92 years old. Shreveport Sun has been continuously published since 1920. We are an established newspaper here in the city and in our community. We do our papers through subscribers. We mail out subscribers, and we are available in convenience stores and community stores throughout the city to be available to our readership. We are in partnership with the Caddo Citizen, and I just ask your consideration in the Shreveport Sun for this year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Also in the audience today is former police juror Shirley Wills. Miss Wills?
That's right. First woman.
There she is. That's
Raise
right.
your hand, girl.
There you go.
That's the first woman right here. She's in District 3.
All right, next speaker is Lisa Lucas.
Good afternoon again. I wanted to take this opportunity to say again thank you for your business with the Legal Journal in the last year. We look forward to serving you again, and I definitely respect the work that each and every one of you do to serve the citizens of Caddo Parish. And thank you.
Thank you. And last speaker, Don Bailey. You're next.
Yes, thank you. I am Don Bailey, president of the Times at 222 Lake Street here in Shreveport. I want to thank you for allowing me to come back today, but I also want to take the opportunity to once again point out that we have offered a very aggressive rate for the legal notices that will save this community and taxpayers money for the coming year. And we are the largest daily newspaper in the market and have obviously continued to publish for a couple of generations, or a long time, and that we do want to do business with the county, and we do want to help save the taxpayers money, and we did come in with a good rate. It's a line rate, and that we're here. We serve everybody daily, and we're a vital part of the Caddo Parish and the community, and we are where the largest number of people come to find out what's happening in the community on a daily basis. I appreciate your consideration and look forward to serving the community for many more years.
All right. We have some visitors. Commissioner Epperson, I'll let you introduce your visitors.
At this time, would Mayor-elect Frank Stavich come forward from Greenwood, Louisiana, please? And also outgoing Mayor Dave Hanson come up with him. Up to the microphone. At this time, my fellow colleagues and members of the viewing audience, I'd like to introduce the new mayor-elect, Mr. Frank Stavich of Greenwood, Louisiana, and he will be taking over the reins of what time when, Frank?
July 1.
July 1. So at this time, Frank, if you'd like to address us and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Frank Stavich. It's somewhat complicated, mainly because of the spelling, but I answer Frank or just about anything in between. So I just want to, on behalf of Dave Hanson, thank you for the help that you've given us over the last 4 years. I have served as Alderman at Large during that period of time, and I'm fully aware of participation of the Commission in the life of Greenwood. And we're certainly looking forward to continuing the relationship. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor Dave, if you'd like an outgoing message.
My 3 minutes are up. Commissioner Kent, I do want you to know that we are thankful for your service out in Greenwood. We supported each other, we've teamed up, and you know what? You can get things done when you work together. And I appreciate the communication he does for Greenwood. Thank you, Commissioner Kent.
And before you sit down, we try to have a surprise for you. Mr. Clerk, the resolution.
Okay.
Have a stand, please.
Resolution in the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, resolution of appreciation to Mayor David Hanson. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission always cherishes the opportunity to acknowledge and commend those of its fellow elected officials who serve the citizens by accepting the responsibilities and burdens of leadership and who render exemplary service in that role, and whereas on June 29, 2012, David Hanson will have completed his term as mayor of the town of Greenwood, during which time he presided with dignity, strength, and integrity. He fulfilled his responsibilities with intelligence, reason, and fairness, with the result that his administration was defined by the cohesive, positive camaraderie that prevailed during his tenure, and by the progressive and productive strides made in the town's behalf during that time. And whereas David Hanson has effectively combined a firm, decisive, and insightful approach to his job as mayor, his success in this regard and the esteem in which he is held by his colleagues is evidenced by the fact that he was recognized in 2011 by the Coordinating and Development Corporation with the 2011 Community Development Award as a result of his many goals and accomplishments during his term. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission, meeting in legal and regular session the 7th day of June, that does hereby express to David Hanson its grateful and heartfelt appreciation for the outstanding service he rendered as Mayor of Greenwood, Louisiana during 2008 to 2012, and the desire that his retirement from office will be equally rewarding and productive. Signed, Mike Thibodeau, President, Glendora Baker, Vice President, Kenneth R. Epperson, Senior, District 12.
Move for adoption.
Second.
One more thing. Mr. Todd, if you got the right name on that resolution, about me.
Dave, we appreciate you, and as I've often stated, as we work together, as a commission, we're not get involved in the politics of the town of Greenwood. We have a mayor and alderman, and I think that bodes well for our excellent relationship that we have. We wish you the best.
Do we have a commissioner that wants to say something? Mr. Dominic?
Mayor Hanson,
Mayor Hanson.
tell y'all something real quick, if you don't mind. I wanted to talk to you for a second, both of y'all, if you don't mind. I just wanted to tell you, last few years I've got to kind of work with you and know you, and I know it's not an easy job being a mayor, and I just appreciate all you've done in Greenwood. And Mayor Frank, and that's what I'm going to call you, Mayor Frank. I know you're the clock builder or the clock repairer, and look forward with working with you and our kind of our quarterly mayor's clerks meeting, and hopefully we can get the complex underway and baseball and those type of things. And I'm big into sports, and we would love to help you guys out.
We look forward to it. Thank you very much for what you do for us.
Well, good luck.
Appreciate your support. You can lead them.
Okay, Mr. Epperson, will you give another?
Okay. With all of the representatives from the Greenwood Community Club that participated in the QUIP, come forward please to the microphone. All the participants from the Greenwood Community Club, QUIFers. While they're coming forward, we have a brief slide presentation that we would like to present. For those of you that may not be aware, in commemoration with the 200th birthday of the state of Louisiana, the bicentennial, our Police Bureau Association, along with the Secretary of State's office, Secretary Shelder, they decided to do a QUIP, and they had a patch from each parish that we wanted, that persons participated in from each parish to add to that QUIP from all 64 parishes. It was formally presented upon completion in Baton Rouge, as you will see some of the slides as they go by, and that QUIP will go around to each parish in the state of Louisiana. Once that has been accomplished, then it will be forever into the halls of the Secretary of State's archives. It will be preserved in a controlled atmosphere. So if any of us around 200 years from now for the 400, we'll still see that QUIP. And we just wanted to show the handiwork that the Greenwood quilters did. And if we would go back through it again, I might tell what's happening. Okay, this is our patch. If we can hold it there. Those ladies did a beautiful job. And we are located at the top left-hand corner on the QUIP in a very good space where we can see it good. I don't know how I got there, but it stands out. The name of all, that's Secretary Shelder making the presentation with our Police Bureau Association Executive Director Roland D'Ortez. There's the finished QUIP. You had hundreds of people that was there for the formal dedication. There's a shot of it on the wall. And it'll be here in Caddo Parish at the Red River Revel this September. So we'll publicize where you can actually come out and visit it. Secretary Shelder presented me with a certificate recognizing Caddo Parish. That's the finished QUIP. And okay, I think that's all of them. So at this time, I would like to present the certificates from the Secretary of State to all of the quilters that participated. Alice Abraham.
She's not absent. We'll.
Ali. Miguel, behave. All right. That's French. Linda Murray. Mabel Washington. Shirlene Miles.
She'll post it on their Facebook tonight.
Betty Birdsong.
Yeah, that camera's right. He's updating.
And Eileen Fields. Thank you. All right, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank you all once again, and as I stated, this will be forever. Yes. So your work will live on in the annals of Louisiana history. And I'd also like to let everyone know the work that the Greenwood Community Club does out in that area. They feed the needy, they help the kids get tutoring, they do recreation. There's so many things that they do. And Ms. Fields and the group are always inviting us out. Holidays. They spend their holidays out going to the homeless and the senior citizens, feeding them and doing things to make their lives right. So we appreciate everything that the Greenwood Community Club does. So at this time, if there's anyone that would like to say a few words, you may. Take the microphone.
To Mr. Emerson, Mr. Todd, and the staff, we would like to say thank you for your moral support in helping us complete some of the things. This has been a beautiful year with us. I don't know, and I'll be through on Mother's Day. I think the people didn't have no places to go. Look like all of in District 12, Mr. Emerson, came to Greenwood with their parents and their children. We were so elated. It was one of the most years of enjoyment to see the needed come together, work together, and fellowship together. And it was because of fine people like you seeing the needs of people. Thank you for the cooperation from all of you, and may God bless all of you and continue to give to the world the best.
Mr. Cox?
Can we get with the Red River Revel and have a snapshot of them at the blanket for what they've done for us and for their part?
Yes, sir.
I think that would be a great idea, and that way people will know these ladies did ours for that wilderness.
We'll have us a good full shot for the commission office as well. Then that'll be fine. We'll get with them and arrange that.
Yeah, and
I want a personal blanket.
They say yours is all right. Thanks, sir. All right, Mr. Epson, since this has been the Commissioner Epson show, let me go ahead.
They say I'm the hardest working commissioner. Okay, at this time with Mr. Isaac and Brenda Tolliver come to the microphone, please. Ms. Brenda Tolliver is the daughter of our honoree that we'll be having today, and that's Mr. John Pettaway. And Mr. Pettaway is not, his health wouldn't allow him to be here today, so they will be accepting this in his behalf. Okay, you can show the slide, Charles.
No.
Okay, as you all know, we'll recognize Mr. Pettaway. Mr. Pettaway upon Monday was 101 years old, June the 4th.
God bless.
That make him the oldest living veteran I know in Caddo Parish, and we are still researching in Louisiana. I don't think no one will surpass that in Louisiana. We're still looking through all of the records. And I got an email that the president honored a youngster at the ripe old age of 91. So I immediately sent an email to the White House telling them that youngster did not surpass our senior, Mr. John D. Pettaway Jr. at 101. So we should have something forthcoming from the White House also. So it's a possibility that Mr. Pettaway may be the oldest living World War II veteran in the United States. Wow. So at this time, I also have some more persons that are going to recognize them. I have Representative Norton, if she would come down, and Ms. Leslie Quinn from Senator David Bitter's office. They have some resolutions also. So at this time, if you will sort of go through the photos and see Mr. Pettaway's history. And also, Mr. Pettaway and his wife, Ms. Alzada, on the 24th will be married, 29th will be married 70.
On the 19th, they will be married 70 years, and on the 29th, she will be 99 years old.
99 years old. Okay, so I'll let you, there he is, a fine young man now. Yeah.
70 years.
Look how happy they are, Michael. Amen. All right, beautiful job. At this time, Mr. Clerk, resolution.
In the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, resolution of recognition to Mr. John Pettaway, Jr. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission takes pleasure in witnessing and acknowledging the milestone events that occur in the lives of citizens of this parish, who by the examples they have displayed in their own lives serve as a source of inspiration, encouragement, and joy to others. And whereas such an individual is Mr. John Pettaway, Jr., whose family and friends honored him on June 4th to celebrate the attainment of his 101st birthday. And whereas Mr. Pettaway served in the United States Army in World War II, June 1943 through September 1945, in the European Command where he served in Africa, Italy, and France. Mr. Pettaway enjoys the distinction of not only the eldest living veteran in Caddo Parish, but the state of Louisiana. And whereas so deep is the reservoir of strength and passion in John Pettaway, Jr., that long after completing his military duty and a successful career, he kept himself busy at home, along with serving his church and community diligently. Part of Mr. Pettaway's success in his service and longevity can be traced back to the soon-to-be 70 years celebrated with his lovely wife, Alzada. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission in the legal session convened that it does hereby extend its warmest expressions of congratulation to Mr. John Pettaway, Jr. on the occasion of his 101st birthday, calling upon all citizens to concur in expressions of best wishes. Be it further resolved that the Caddo Commission also extends to Mr. Pettaway its deepest appreciation for the manner in which he has served his nation and community as a shining demonstration of noble principles of humanity, faith, love, character, compassion, dedication, industry, tenacity, and perseverance.
Amen.
Signed, Mike Thibodeau, President, Lindora Baker, Vice President, Kenneth R. Epperson, Sr., District 12.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Right presentation from Representative Barbara Norton, and then Senator Bitter's office, Ms. Leslie Quinn, and then we'll hear some comments from Ms. Collier.
Good evening to the President, Mr. Thibodeau, and to your Vice President, Commissioner Baker, and to the Administrator, Mr. Woody Wilson, and also to Commissioner Ken Epperson and to this entire body. It is indeed a great opportunity for me to bring you greetings on behalf of our Governor, Bobby L. Jindal. But before I do, I certainly would like to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Epperson for all of his efforts through our session this year, for coming down and staying with us for about 2 weeks, and not only that, but being a big part in the resolution on behalf of veterans throughout the entire state of Louisiana, giving them an opportunity to have the House of Representatives to place them on our website about the wonderful things that they do, and also give the entire state of Louisiana an opportunity to celebrate the efforts that they've done throughout the state of Louisiana and throughout this country as protecting our country and protecting us. And I certainly want to take this opportunity to thank him for sitting in committee to help move a bill through that we wasn't able to get it all the way through there, but we worked on it, and we're going to come back again on next year. And I just cannot stand here without saying how much we appreciate him and how much we appreciate his efforts for being there for our city, and also Commissioner Johnson for coming down as well. Again, I thank you all for all of the work you do here in the city of Shreveport and in the parish, and know without a doubt that we're there to assist you in whatever way that we can, and thank you so much. I bring you greetings, as I mentioned, on behalf of our governor, Governor Bobby L. Jindal, United States of America, State of Louisiana, Governor Bobby Jindal, officially statement, in the name and by the authority of the State of Louisiana, I, Bobby Jindal, together with the people of this state, hereby give special recognition to John Pettaway, Jr. in acknowledgement of your 101st birthday. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand officially and cause to be affixed the Great Seal of the State of Louisiana at the Capitol in the city of Baton Rouge on this day, the 4th day of June, A.D. 2012. Congratulations, and thank you so much. Thank you.
70 days.
On behalf of U.S. Senator David Vitter, it gives me great pleasure to come here today and represent him in sending his greetings on this great occasion. And he wanted to let me know that he has also contacted the White House and President Obama to inform him about the celebration, and hopefully we will be hearing something soon. But in the meantime, he sent a letter and asked me that to read it and let y'all know how much he sends his congratulations. Dear John and Alzetta, June is the month of celebrations for the Pettaways. Happy 101th birthday to John, happy 99th birthday to Alzetta, and happy 70th wedding anniversary to both of you. You have seen many presidents come and go. You have lived through 2 world wars and 9/11. You have witnessed the growth of automobile, airplane, and space travel, and you have witnessed the arrival of radio, television, and the computer. As significant as these things are, more importantly, you have contributed to others by being parents and grandparents, through your involvement in your church, and by your giving and sharing with your neighbors. Congratulations on your 70th wedding anniversary. The two of you are a testament to the institution of marriage, which is the foundation of our society. This milestone is a wonderful accomplishment and a shining example to all married couples. John, I salute you for serving in the United States Army during World War II in the European Command in Africa, Italy, and France. Your commitment to our country is sincerely appreciated, and we owe a great debt of gratitude to you and to all of our veterans for defending our country and our freedom. You are an asset to Shreveport, to the state of Louisiana, and to the United States of America. I am honored to serve as your senator. May you, your family, and friends enjoy this wonderful day of celebration.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you may.
First, I say thank you to all of you on behalf of my father and mother, John and Alzetta Pettaway. It's a blessing to all of us that my dad is still here. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here. He was here last year, and he was very honored and happy to be here. He's under the weather and not feeling well. At 101, you can imagine his steps are getting shorter. I'll tell you what one of my friend's father said: you walk on your legs 101 years and see how you feel. Blessings to all of you. What he would say is keep praying, keep honoring the Lord, and see if you can make it 100 years or get to 101. He's been married 70 years. He and my mom are happily married. Granny's not be 99 on the 29th. They're happy. They love each other. My husband and I we've been married 45 years, so we honor the marriage commitment. It's honored in our family. We committed to marriage. And what I say to you, love the Lord, keep God first. He was 50 years as a Sunday school superintendent. So God is first in his life. God is first in our lives. Keep God first. We love you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Epperson. And he always calls to check on my dad. He'll call and say, how's my partner doing? How's he feeling? Let him know I'm thinking about him. And I did tell him you had called to check on him. And he said to tell you hello and thanks for calling. Thank you all so much. God bless.
All right, we have one more resolution, and that's Commissioner Lynch. You have one?
Yes. Where is it? We've had Oscar winners here. We've had the oldest living veteran, but I don't think we've ever had a two-time Olympian. And so we are going to honor our two-time Olympian from Caddo Parish today, Mr. Kendrick Ferris. You come up, Mr. Ferris.
In the name and by the authority of the Caddo Parish Commission, resolution of recognition to Kendrick Ferris. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission desires to give appropriate recognition to those young men and women of Caddo Parish who aspire, strive, and excel, and who in doing so reflect much honor and prestige upon this parish. And whereas Kendrick Ferris, in his second consecutive United States Olympic team berth, is the only American male weightlifter to qualify for the 2012 Summer Olympic Games to be held in London, England, United Kingdom. And whereas Mr. Ferris, competing in the 85-kilogram weight class, seeks not only a 30th Olympiad medal at the London Games, but to best the American record he set for the clean and jerk, 202 kilograms, as well as a total weight lift at 362 kilograms, at the Games in Beijing in 2008. And whereas Kendrick has blessed the gym with many hours of blood, sweat, and tears, preparing for his second opportunity to present his community, friends, family, and countrymen on the world stage of the Olympics. Kendrick understands the positive message he gives back to his community by the dedication and perseverance shown over the years in preparation for Beijing and now London. For many local young men and women, Kendrick is there, red, white, and blue clad, king of the platform. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission that it is with great pride and enthusiasm that it does hereby congratulate and wish well Mr. Kendrick Ferris for all his persistence and hard work that have resulted in outstanding athletic and personal accomplishments and the honor and prestige he has brought back to his community, parish, and nation. Signed, Mike Thibodeau, President, Lindora Baker, Vice President, all the Caddo Commission.
Tell us why you really did it.
Oh, okay. I haven't lost a pound since you were last in the Olympics.
Mom, you want to come this thing?
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much for this award and this opportunity to share this with you guys. But I wanted to bring this plaque that I got from the Nationals from this year. It's the Best Lifters Award, and these are the 3 medals that we won at Nationals, and that gave us the qualification to go to our Olympic trials that was held in Guatemala. All right, good.
You better carry him around. Just a minute.
Yeah, and I want to take a second to mention my coach, Dr. Kyle Pierce. He's
Pierce, would you mind standing, please, sir?
This is the man that taught me the movements. And the one thing I wanted to share, I think it's just really important that we all just try to live an active lifestyle, and that's what Bless the Gym is just all about. It's not just about physically being in a gym, but our body represents the gym, and that's what we live in every day. So I just encourage everyone to go out and just try to do something to be active every day. We have a free program for kids over at LSU Shreveport. That's why I started. This man has been with me since the beginning. He's, just different attributes and different, qualities that I've developed and been able to obtain through this guy. It's been incredible on and off the platform. Just learning, goal setting, work ethic, and just being an upstanding citizen. That's what he represents. That's what he's all about. And that's why I wanted him to come up here with me. And because our relationship, it goes beyond the platform, as we always say. So I had to take this chance and say thank you to this man, because words can't express it enough. And my family, they've always supported me. I got my mom, my sister's here, my great grandmother's here. She just celebrated her 90th birthday not too long ago. My aunt Muriel Burns, and my son here, my nieces. Man, I'm just thankful and happy to have an opportunity to not only represent Shreveport, Louisiana, the southern region, but the United States as well for a second chance. So it's gonna be something special. I appreciate you guys. Yes. You got anything more to say? Last thing, I don't want to take up too much time, but we're doing donations through my site, trying to help and make this thing as big as possible, and want to make sure that I can just have as much support, and just hearing those voices that you get to hear on a day-to-day basis, it just does something to me. My family, they don't get to travel to a lot of competitions with me, so I think this would be extremely special if we can make something happen for them. If you go to my site, this is my name, KendrickJFarris.com. You could Google that name, and all my stuff is the same, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, and you also can find a link on my site to our official website for our program. And like I said, man, you can bring the kids out. I'm there all the time, so if they want to just come meet us, or if they just want to come and do the movements, bring them on out. We'd love to have them. All right, thank y'all.
Ms. Lynch, I believe.
President, so moved on that motion, but I also want to, he mentioned his family, but just have them to stand, his mom and grandmother, great-grandmother, and all the folks that are here to support him today.
Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman, I just too would like to echo that this fine young man is a model citizen. He's from the great state of Louisiana and Parish of Caddo in the city of Shreveport, who represent us on a national and international level. We need a model mentors and big brothers in order to keep our young men off the streets and have someone to look up to. And a lot of mothers are motherless. They don't have fathers at home with them, and this is the type of positive message that we need to send across our children, that you can be successful. You stay off the drugs and gangs and go to school and get a quality education and build your body, put good things in your body, not bad things. So I just want to say, keep up the good work, brother. God bless you.
All right, we have one more recognition that is not listed. I took the liberty of doing this because it has to do with one of our own, and I want to be sure that that person got recognized. This is State of Louisiana, Parish of Caddo, in the name and authority of Caddo Parish Commission, on motion of Commissioner Mike Thibodeau, President of Caddo Parish Commission, hereby extends its heartiest congratulations and commendation to Matthew Lynn and Columbia Cafe in recognition of outstanding service and dedication for his service to the community and to the parish. Matthew has been a businessman long before he came on the commission, and he's had Columbia Cafe for 10 years? Yes. And has been one of the prevost citizens of the Highland area, and he's a commissioner, which makes it sometimes a little hard to recognize him, but I want to be sure he got recognized as a businessman, because he took a real chance, I believe, in investing his money where he did, and was very successful. So I want to...
It's going to reopen in District 3.
Thank you. I'm flattered. This was certainly not expected, and I appreciate it. I commend anybody and salute anybody that wants to go into the restaurant business. 10 years is all anybody should ever have to do. But I had fun.
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. President, before we move to, we have a motion by Ms. Lynch to approve the resolution from Mr. Ferris.
Second. It's unanimous, I believe, without opposition. Yeah, it's unanimous. On all of the resolutions. All right, Mr. Wilson, you have something for us?
Yes, sir. President Thibodeau, we had a couple of requests for communications that came out Monday's meeting. I placed those at your station, and we have a very important last recognition today we'd like to make to Mr. Milton. Mr. Milton, Mr. Cox, would you come forward, please?
Mr. President, Commissioners, sometimes people brighten a room when they enter it. Sometimes they brighten the room when they leave the room. For the past 34 years, Middleton Jones has not only been brightening rooms by entering them, he will brighten your life and your day if you let him. I'm proud to be able to do this for you today. It's sad for me. I know it's happy for you. I've been wanting to put this day off for a long time. But it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you, beside you, for you, for the past 22 years of my service. On behalf of the entire Facilities and Maintenance Department and the Juvenile Justice Complex, I want to thank you for your dedication and hard work that you give into this department and our customers. We wish you all the luck.
Speak into the microphone, please, so we can all hear you.
I want to wish you all the luck, all the happiness, all the health, many, many years in whatever you decide to do next, whether it's another career or it's just being pawpaw, which you know, 34 years sounded like a long time to Mr. Pettaway's accomplishments. Always remember that between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, you'll have an honorary seat on our park bench at the I remember we didn't need these glasses. Mr. Middleton Jones, April 7th, 1978 through June 16th, 2012, in recognition of 34 years of dedicated service to the Caddo Parish Commission, Facility and Maintenance Department, and the citizens of Caddo Parish. We will really miss you.
If you'd like to come up front and get a picture, we're glad to have you. You got something to say? Go ahead.
First of all, giving honor to God and to all the commissioners and everybody else here today.
We don't mind.
This indeed has been a run. It has been a privilege as well as a pleasure to serve the citizens of Caddo Parish. I did it with joy and fun, but for 34 years, this has been my family. And I love them very much, and I'm not regretting leaving because I'm really going to enjoy myself. But I still got a job. You see all them kids back there? I like for my family to stand. It's my sister, great place to work. And I'm going to say this right here, I'm going to sit down. Caddo Parish, we stay strong and we stay long.
Commissioners, I'd like to pass along my sincere appreciation to the Middleton while he's here for a job well done. When I first met Middleton, I thought I was meeting Eddie Murphy for the first time. You ever hear him laugh? Sounds just like Eddie Murphy. But he brightened everybody's day. And he never had a bad day here. You know, if you're having a bad day, you can't get around Middleton because he's going to cheer you up. So Middleton, on behalf of the administration as well as the entire Caddo Parish family, we thank you so much for 34 years of dedicated service. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, I just want to let you all know that the annual reports will be in tomorrow. Should be in today, but the rest of them will be in tomorrow. So I put one at each one of the stations, so you can see what it look like today. But we'll get them tomorrow. That's
All right.
Here's my report for today.
Any communiques or committee reports from commission?
I just have a report. I got people before you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jefferson.
Yes, Mr. Wilson, thank you for the letter to the Wildlife and Fisheries. Also, is Mr. Glass in?
Ken's here.
Okay, well, if someone may, who's responsible for the overpass on I-20? Where you can go from the Greenwood Acre subdivision off West 70 on to the one off Greenwood Road?
I believe it's state.
That's state?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that correct, Ken?
All right. Mr. Wilson, could you
Yes, sir.
maybe get some correspondence to them and see if they might can do a little maintenance on it?
Okay.
Sandblasting and painting, it looks deplorable. And that's what people see when they come in from the west. Also, on June the 29th at 11 o'clock a.m. here at the Commission Chambers, we will have a meeting with the Veterans Parade and Honor Ceremony. All persons that are interested in coming out so we can get everything in place, please come out. June 29th, Friday, 11 a.m. at the Commission Chambers. Also, how many people here realize what yesterday was? All right. Okay. Yesterday was the 68th anniversary of D-Day. And you know, we can relate to that because of Mr. Pettaway. Mr. Pettaway was in during that time. So we must always never forget what our military has done for this nation. The ones that did not return, the ones that returned that were maimed and crippled, and ones that are still here with us. Let's always remember that. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bowman?
Yes, sir. In reference to the administrator and the information that you provided us,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not pleased with what I see here. This information that they sent to you is almost like I've been told they send to the board members. According to what some of the board members told me after our meeting on Monday, was that when they did find out that this individual was hired back, it certainly wasn't. They just recently put him, I guess, over another year or so. We need to know exactly what happened over there. If he had retired, then he came back, and according to some board members, he came back in an entirely lower level position. That's what they had been told. But according to this that has been sent to you, it's misleading. And ask them, I'll tell you what, a better way would be to invite them to the next commission meeting, and hopefully they can answer the questions at that point.
Dr. Heason is here today, ma'am.
Okay.
Begin to address the
Sir, Mr. President, do you mind?
No, it's fine.
Dr. Heason? Just fine. I had the opportunity to speak with several board members after our last work session this past week, this week, and what I was told by them was quite disturbing. Of course, they said that when they asked questions of folks in your administrative office, that they are told that they are micromanaging and they are reluctant to give them the information that they are requesting. In addition to that, were you aware of, did you hire Mr. Pelton yourself?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, because was the board notified that he was hired?
Yes, ma'am.
And what position was he hired?
He was hired as a librarian 7.
That's what they said.
Right, and there's a title. We have librarian 7, we have librarian 6, but there are titles that go with that, and his official, the title that goes with that.
Just one point of order. Ask our attorney, are we out of line here speaking about a employee in public without having notified him?
Mr. President, the open meetings law says that if you're going to discuss the character and professional competency of a given individual, that's the wording of the statute, you have to give the person notice, and the person has the opportunity to have the meeting be private at his or her election. So I'm not sure where we're going here, but if it's going to get into the character and professional competency of anybody, then I would say that would need to be done pursuant to this procedure. But if not, then...
No, I'm not going in that direction. I know that, if I'm going to discuss that individual on his character or at a personal level, we'll go in executive session and do that. What I'm trying to get to is the bottom of administratively how this person was hired. Number 2, when he was hired at that level 7, give us that again.
Librarian 7.
Librarian 7. And now he is, according to the letter of the information that our administrator gave us in work session, is that he is CFO. And that
That's
surprised
just the title.
me.
It's still level 7. It's a librarian 7 title CFO.
But that was, and I'm just letting you know, not only how I feel, but I did talk to several board members, and they told me that they were not aware that he was in that position as CFO. And I don't think any of us knew that either. And I had one other question, too. When is the last time that you all had external audit?
We are scheduling one. Our board finance committee just said that this is time for us to do it, so we're doing an external audit.
Okay. And I have one other concern as far as the operations. Are you all presently operating in the red?
No, ma'am. We have a $14 million fund balance, for which it's actually last year's tax receipts from which we are doing this year's operations. We are not, and of course, you saw the letter, we are not going into interim financing. We have not gone into interim financing for a number of years.
Okay.
We are a very healthy financial organization.
Okay, I hope so. And one other question, over in West Shreveport, the sign that was put out there, did you all pay $93,000 to put that sign up?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay. All right.
It was replacing a monument sign that was there, and we are trying so hard to let our citizens know what's going on in the libraries. We're actually putting an electronic sign out there to let people know how they can access and use their libraries better.
And that's good. I mean, I'm all for that. However...
You remember the first one was destroyed by a drunk driver.
Right. But, and of course, I'm sure it didn't cost $93,000.
It would have cost around $23,000 to replace it.
Right. And I'm just looking at the fact that just here recently, we all kind of pushed to make sure that millages for the library passed. and that citizens certainly wouldn't want to hear that anything that is not above board is going on over there. And
All of these items were approved by the board, ma'am?
okay, but according to the board, I'm hearing that they are not, and I talked to at least 4 board members, and I was told that they are not being informed, and if they are, the instance, the letter that our administrators sent to them, they only got the first copy, the first sheet. It was a second part to that. They were not given that. You can check in all this yourself, but I just want you to be aware of what board members said and have it addressed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, Mr. President?
I don't think so. Mr. Williams?
Pete Reed. But anyway, Mr. Chairman, my matter switches to something else regarding something that's been ongoing in our community, in our nation. I'd like to commend Commissioner Bowman and City Councilman Sam Jenkins for their efforts on the ongoing shooting and firing and killing in their particular community. What Commissioner Kenan Epperson and I have been doing over the last 3 months is trying to explore a worthwhile, positive, well-documented and demonstrated program that's been working throughout America. I can't just thank Commissioner Epperson enough when he goes on trip. He's always looking for things that way back to Caddo Parish to make life better for our citizens here. What we found on was a program called Operation Ceasefire. It's a very methodical, intense, bold, smart initiative throughout America. Just alone in Chicago, over 700 children was hit by gunfire in Chicago. Just alone. After hearing about Mr. Pettaway, one of our great leaders and warriors who defended this country, we need to find a worthwhile program to protect our law-abiding citizens, especially our senior citizens and our children. They don't have to live like they're in Pakistan. This is the United States of America, a first world country living in these kind of conditions in the 21st century. Not only know God is the only solution to the problem, to put the fear of God in our young people's heart. We're going to ask our clergymen to do more and they step up their efforts to try to help our young men in our community and our young women. This problem just don't manifest just in Shreveport, but all our districts, especially the urban commissioners, have a very poor district. We have young people in our district, don't have a lot to do. And violence seems to be accelerated in our community because violence now is looked upon as something good. You've got cartoon violence, Hollywood violence, you got neighborhood violence, you got rap-rooted violence. We live in a pop culture where violence is acceptable, and that is wrong. So the city of New Orleans kicked off this initiative, city of Detroit, city of Boston, and the city of Detroit. I let the commission know that the funding for this at a national level, there are federal funds and a grant. It's under Project Safe Neighborhood. I contacted Mary Landry's office in D.C. The deadline for the grant would be June the 14th, so we have to work without haste to try to find a model. We just can't huff and puff, and we can't just have Stop the Violence T-shirts and signs, because when you can put a police on every corner, and there's a criminal hiding behind the bush. Police is just not the answer. We have to work together, all of us, the city of Shreveport, the parish, the National Attorney General's office, the Justice Department, the federal marshal, the city police, the sheriff, the clergymen, the community leaders. We have to work together to solve this problem. And I'm asking us to help facilitate that maybe in the next 2 weeks. Anybody that would like to come to the meeting. I talked to the director of the ceasefire program in New Orleans, who would be willing to come here and make a presentation to her. Her name is Janetta Presley. She works in Central City. And it happens to reduce 80% of the gun rates in New Orleans has reduced because of this successful model. Years ago, Commissioner Epperson and I went to Minneapolis. We came back with the Drop Your Guns program. People thought we was out of our mind. But the program worked. Was able to get 500 guns off the streets, back in the hands of the rightful owner who owned the guns, working with the ATF. So we have to be innovative and creative. Yes, we can have meetings and we can go to the church and have meetings. After we come out the meeting, we have no solution and nothing get done. So I hope that we will contact Mary Landry's office, find out about the grant, find out about the proposal, make those contacts. In 2 weeks, I want to have a meeting, Ethics Commission, anybody who wants to come and be a part. We're all in this together. All commissioners, all city council, all elected officials, law-abiding citizens, community leaders, faith-based. Anybody concerned about guns and violence in this community is welcome to come to the meeting. I don't have all the answers, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There is a model. Let's work it methodical. Let's work together. And I will be supporting Ms. Bowman in her efforts in her community because I'm concerned about all children. Regardless, nobody's immune to a bullet. Nobody. You can run, but you can't hide. So I hope that we would move on this quickly and ask for all of my colleagues' support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ken. This morning, looked at the news and saw where there was a car that drove off of the road and went into Cross Lake. And I left home this morning, it looked like the sheriffs were outside around one of the twin bridges. I just wanted to make sure it was that the bridge that they drove off of.
It wasn't the bridge, it was actually the road itself.
The road right before the bridge.
That's correct.
Okay.
They didn't damage anything of the bridge, but, the car, they weren't hurt or anything like that, other than just trying to do what they were going to do.
Okay, even though that was an intentional act to go into the lake, is there something else that we can put there between where the road is and that opening to try to keep cars from going off just in case somebody has a blowout and goes off into the lake by accident?
Well, there'll be some efforts done in our road project. I don't know that exact location, but the efforts with the bike path that we're going to be constructing there this current summer will help with that, especially on the south side or the deeper end of the water. We do have guardrails up there now where the case in point is where it's.
But this happened on the north side, so the south side was.
We still have guardrails there, and that's exactly where the dangerous part is at. We definitely could look at extending some locations to try to keep accidents from happening, but we don't have any other cases other than this one at that location. So
it looked like it was just too easy for that person to drive off the road and go straight into the lake.
That's the only incident that we've had there, but we can look into it when we're working out there to do it again. So.
All right, thanks. Stephen. Stephen sent me an email about the affordable fence, but I wanted to keep the commission up to date on that and let him come forward and give us an update as a whole.
Yes, on May 22nd, this was affordable fence. You remember seeing the videos on this. We have a zoning violation. It was continued to the 22nd of May, and then on 22nd of May, they weren't able to work through the docket, so it was continued again. So now we're looking at the 23rd. Our efforts do not stop. We continue to work with the applicant to try to get voluntary compliance. As we had stated before, that's been an extremely effective tool for us, is to work directly with folks to get cleanup. Sometimes we end up with those who want to hire attorneys and go to court. And this is what we usually expect. We get a lot of delays, a lot of continuance, especially if we have an aggressive attorney, and so we'll keep after it. We hope that we can get this resolved before the actual next court date. But that's where we are right now, sir.
All right, and I wanted him to give you that update because right now I'm not really satisfied with our system. This has been going on for about 2 years. He had until the 22nd of May to get it cleared off. And on the 22nd, it still wasn't clear. So whether it had made the docket or not, he still was not in compliance. You go by there today, still not in compliance. So on June 18th, I've been getting other calls, and I know some of the other commissioners have been getting calls too. So on the 18th of May at 2:30, we will have a property standards committee meeting at June 18th at 2:30.
May.
What's the date? You said it May.
No,
He corrected himself. June 18th, 2:30. We will have a property standards meeting to address some of these issues that we're having. There's too many loopholes in the ordinance right now, so we need to try to stiffen it up. That's all I had, Mr. President.
All right. Mr. Lynn?
Since we've been focusing so much on the military, and I certainly appreciate what Commissioner Epperson has done as far as bringing this forth, and I feel obligated to tell y'all a story of a Highland resident who died 6 years ago at the age of 98. He was the very first person to invade Normandy. His name is James Aubrey Penninger, and he's buried at the cemetery that we provided for the veterans. And the way that he actually was physically the very first person to invade Normandy is that before the troops landed on the shores, the Air Force put together, and this was actually pre-Green Beret, they put forces together with gliders, and so they had very large gliders that they would pull up behind the transport airplanes and then drop them loose, and then they would fly behind enemy lines and land. This man, James Aubrey Penninger, he was actually, when he enlisted in the military voluntarily, I believe he was 24 or 27, somewhere in his mid to late 20s when he volunteered, which was a little bit past what they took him in as, but they recognized him as a leader. He was also stature. He was physically smaller, mentally very large man, physically a little smaller guy, and so he was the lead glider pilot in the invasion in Normandy that actually went in behind, and so technically he would be the first person to fly into France with the group of pre-Green Beret, Green Beret men that were on the glider with him. If you go to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, you will see his glider in the museum, his uniform in the museum, and his voice over the speaker if you hit the button to listen to him. And so Caddo Parish has many heroes, and in recognition of yesterday being the invasion of Normandy, that for the most part the United States coming to the rescue of the planet, that was something special for him, and we have men like him and Ken and everybody else that has served in the military to thank for that. And I just wanted to. I served too, man. And Michael, for what? I don't know what division did you serve in, Commissioner?
I was a military police, to have you know.
So you're under arrest. Military police in the Army.
That's right.
Thank God it was in peacetime.
Yes, sir. One other thing. I would certainly like for my fellow commissioners, as well as the audience here and the viewing audience, to know that this is not my first time on the rodeo. I want you to know that for years I have fought for my community, and it's never about me. I might be quite vocal. I might say things the way that other folks might not say them, but guess what? The message gets across. And no one is meeting just to be meeting. Trust me, this is an informative meeting that has been planned for Monday the 11th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Willis Knighton Community Center. It's at 2401 Bessie Street. That's right off of Greenwood Road. I would certainly appreciate the commissioners, their attendance at the meeting, because one thing about it, it's over in my house today. It might be in yours tomorrow.
Amen.
And some of you, I think maybe Matthew, whoever represents that Highland portion, it's already in your house. I mean, it's going to take collective effort from all of us. At the meeting, the chief of police will be there, the sheriff, the parish of Caddo, the district attorney, and other elected representatives will be there. But mainly the police, the sheriff, the law enforcement will be there to give information to our citizens. This is not a gripe meeting. We can gripe all night and all day. But it is basically an action meeting so that everyone can have the information that they need to report suspicious activity that's going on, and to, acknowledge that, yes, we have a problem. Help us, whoever that's willing to help us. That's what this is about, and finding solutions to the problem. So I would appreciate if you can make it next Monday at 6 p.m., Willis Knighton Education Building on Bessie. That's right behind the fitness center on Greenwood Road. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
I'll plan on being there, Ms. Bowman, to support you as a having a business in that area. I'm very concerned. So far, last year and this year, I've probably had over $15,000 worth of vandalism to my trucks, and nothing is done. So I will be there to voice my opinion as well, and stand behind you 100%.
Thank you.
What's the address on Bessie?
It's 2401.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, I don't have anything on the president's report. We have adopt the minutes, the regular meeting held on May 17th.
So moved.
Second. Moved by
Escadade.
Second by Mr. Dominic. Or Ms. Bowman, whoever wants to take it. Cast your vote, please.
Yeah.
Looks like we had about 11 in favor. One out of the building. Or out of the chamber. Okay, Ms. Hopkins, public hearing.
Public hearing on local assessment ordinances. Local assessment ordinance number 47 of 2012, ordering the construction and improvement of a water line within the right-of-way of a portion of Goldsberry Road.
All right, anyone to speak in favor of ordinance number 47? Come forward, please. Each side will have a total of 15 minutes, each speaker 3. If there are several speakers, y'all need to maybe choose one, and I don't think there's that many here, so. Give your name and address, please.
Okay, my name is Alan Schlichtenmeyer. I live at 10667 Goldsberry, kind of in the middle of the affected area there. I spoke briefly with y'all 3 weeks ago at that meeting. Very much for this project. The neighborhood, in large part, has been working towards this for a long time, since last summer, basically, when the aquifer problem became an issue. We've looked at what data is available through Gary Hansen's organization, Red River Watershed or something, whatever they call it. It's not ideal in that there's not a lot. There's 3 or 4 years of data. But what the data that is there is pretty frightening when you look at it. It shows a pretty clear pattern of the water level dropping over time in the aquifer. Given that, we went through all the steps that are put out to the forms and the petitions with the city, with yourselves, got the numbers. Majority is defined by, I guess, the commission or the rules that the commission's working under, whoever defined those rules, the state or city. We've done everything to the letter as far as we know, and we look forward to the results.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor? Anyone opposed?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is David Romero. I am also in Goldsberry area. I live at the very end of where the circle ends on Goldsberry, and I spoke before you guys, obviously, 3 weeks ago. I want to make a couple points here. The data for the water that he mentions is not clear. It's a very limited 3 year to 4 years cycle with 2 drastic drought years. You need to go back to a 15-20 year study, as which most water studies do, look at the secular cycles. With that said, Mr. Grubb's been formidable. Had some good conversations with him. Thank you for being very professional with me, and it's nice to work with everybody in that capacity. Mr. Thibodeau, Commissioner Thibodeau, President Thibodeau, I do not know you, but I've actually come to learn a lot about you. And I think when it comes to constituents, you're generally concerned. And I don't think that this was passed in November because of any other issues other than you had good intentions for constituents there. I believe that in 3 weeks ago, I was legally right to stand here and tell you that we did not carry the weight. Today, I stand here to tell you that we now lose that favor because of another person that signed up. So with that said, I do acknowledge that. So I did, as you see on TV, I lawyered up. Today I have de-lawyered. One time when you know there's a losing battle. But I do want to bring some things and some really concerns. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, and you know, valid. Schlickmeyer has valid reasons why they have concerns. Other people out there spend a tremendous amount of assets, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 putting a well down. They spend $3,000 or $4,000 putting a generator in so they don't run out of water. They've got $10,000 laid out of capital. A lot of people are on fixed incomes. They're worried about being annexed. Now you're asking them to only up another $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000. They did what they had to do. So when looking at the bill that's crafted, and I had this conversation with Mr. Grubb, he said this bill is sort of the trial bill that you send in this ordinance. It was set off of sort of a road bill. And I did send around just less paper this time, 1 page if they handed it out to you. So that should be good news to everybody. The comments of fair and equitable practice. If you're putting road work in, footage works. If you have 100 foot, enhances your property. If you have 100 foot of water line buried, but you have 1 tap, it doesn't matter if you have 1 foot of pipeline or 100 foot of pipeline, 1 tap's all the house needs. So how do you pick winners and losers on who pays, who doesn't? Because for the people that do not want the water line, you're asking them to pony up $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for the others that maybe have not serviced themselves correctly to be in the deep aquifer. So a fair sense of play, I'm just asking you to possibly step back, look at the ordinance again, maybe look at recrafting, because I already know the percentages are in your favor, so you know, that's a battle I can't fight anymore. So I would probably go back to the ordinance that is 3827, Mr. Fripp had on where you ask people and see equitable practice. This pipeline is going to come in, it's going to have fire hydrants or 500 foot, if I understood correctly, Mr. Warden, Mr. Grubb. We're already putting another stump out at Harris, so it benefits Harris, but it's being paid for by the people on Goldsberry. So there's not fair, equitable cost to everybody. Also, the reason I sent this out and just sort of highlight some red areas, the law that I talked about last week that, you know, I got to concede on that one because it's met. 3826. If they choose to extend the pipeline down Harris Circle, Goldsberry Circle, those people in the corner have right-of-way. That law stands again. They are again with 400 foot, 200 foot, even though they've been assessed once, even though they're voted once. How do you deal with that? Again, is there another way to step back, look at how it is a tap per household, which differs than pavement on a road in frontage enhancing property versus a tap to household? Look at that. The fire hydrants, we're in fire zone 4 right now. If petition, and I do sit on the Louisiana Penal Insurance Bond, I'm on the PNC and Health, so I'm on the PNC board. They can bring that up to a fire code 1. Everybody within 1,000 feet of fire hydrants get a discount on their insurance. So people are benefiting by the people that are paying in the center. So that's one concern. And there's a lot of raw emotions. And, you know, I haven't paid for one person held this up. I mean, I can go with that, but, you know, Bakers, Johnsons, Lafitte's, Saxon Self, I can go on and on. They're all behind me speaking for them. You're more than welcome to call them, but they've got those raw emotions, and we've got raw emotions on the other side, and we have to live together, so we have to sort of pacify those concerns. All I'm asking is maybe not to hammer this home today. Would you step back and look at a more fair and equitable place, because this is going to be used more than just in District 9, it'll be used all over the place as a model. when good intentions are set, sometimes there is bad consequences. Some of these people are feared of being annexed. If so, they're on fixed incomes. You're asking them to give up income. You're asking them right now to come out of pocket. Tight times. It's an economic times. So with those concerns, boring in the roads, the people on the opposite side, their impact to tie on, this is the cost that's assessed here is just to put the pipeline down. Have to tap, have to come on the road for half those people. The city code says 1-inch copper water line. I did talk to Mr. Townsend from Wicker Construction, which is where you've got your numbers from also. And he confirms about $1 a foot for copper just for the cost, much less running it. So there's people in there that pick another $500 to $1,000, $2,000, depending on what that meter has to set, besides the tap, besides setting out the cost. So in looking at the cost side and being fair and equitable and fair play, and I know that's the concern of the commissioner here, is to treat every constituent with those things. I'm asking you to maybe look at this again and look at a crafting in a different way that is equitable to everybody. And we have 32 other people on the outside that were never ever asked if they had wanted to join or not. We have some ill feelings there also, which is all in this close community. So I stand here before you today knowing I'm conceded to Mr. Grubb on the 60%, and I did talk to Mr. Stump, and I understand why he signed. So I can't fault him for that. I mean, I understand totally. With that said, I'm just asking you to have fair play, look at the benefits of everybody, maybe look at how we can redistribute it equally amongst everybody instead of hitting some over others because of footage, which, understanding, if you're putting the road down, it makes sense to put the pipeline down with one tap. Doesn't matter how long the pipeline is, everybody has the same water tap. With that said, I don't really have much more that I can hit on, other than I have known Mr. Lynn a little longer. Congratulations, and I watched you actually build your restaurant before you opened it up. So, and you probably don't recall I had a little darker hair, a little more hair, and we had several chats out there when I was working in the same area. So, congratulations, job well done. That's pretty much it. Thank you for your time. I appreciate everybody I've talked to. Very professional. Mr. Rupp, thank you very much for being a true professional working with me.
I have a question for you. All right. Mr. Escobar?
Mr. Romero.
Yes, sir. We'll have to wait till we get to the public hearing. Not the public hearing.
We're in the public hearing.
I know, we don't ask questions on the hearing.
Until the
We
final.
don't ask questions until we get to the
Today, we don't. Okay, fine, whatever.
Stay close.
We'll ask when we get to the actual ordinance.
We do 1 week we do.
Anyone else to speak against the ordinance? So this public hearing on the local assessment ordinance number 47 is closed.
Local assessment ordinance number 48 of 2012, ordering the construction and improvement of a water line within the right-of-way of a portion of Split Oak and Green Oak Drives.
Anyone to speak in favor of local assessment ordinance number 48? Anyone to speak against? Okay, this public hearing on local assessment ordinance number 48 is closed.
That concludes public hearing on local assessment ordinances. We move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5201 of 2012, amending Article 6 of Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances, the Parish of Caddo, relative to Section 26-182, Schedule A, speed limits on Hemperley Avenue and Shadowlawn Drive.
Anyone to speak in favor of ordinance 5201? Anyone to speak against? Public hearing is closed.
Ordinance number 5202 of 2012, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator designee to sell purchase tax interest.
Anyone to speak in favor of ordinance 5202? Against? That's closed.
Ordinance number 5203, amending Article 6 of Chapter 26 of the Code of Ordinances, Parish of Caddo, relative to 26-190, Schedule J, local traffic only, on Jennifer Lane and Maggie Lane.
Anyone to speak in favor of ordinance 5203? Anyone to speak against ordinance 5203? Public hearing on 5203 is closed.
That concludes public hearing on ordinances. We move to local assessment ordinance for final passage. Local assessment ordinance number 47 of 2012, ordinance construction improvement of the water line on the right-of-way of portion of Goldsberry Road.
So moved. Second. Mr. Escobar, what you going to ask your question now to Mr. Romero?
Appreciate your comments. When you were talking about a more fair and equitable way to distribute the cost-sharing burden, it's one thing for us to take up the matter, but since you've been intimately involved in this in detail, do you have any suggestions in regards to this particular case, and what you thought?
I wish I was that smart, but no.
Well, we're not either, believe it or not. We just not enough votes to be here. And if what we did was easy, we'd run every year unopposed without opposition, because we'd always make the right decision that made everybody happy. But it's not. But, I just wondered. I want you to understand that do our best with this. It's a difficult situation. For everything, especially an ordinance or a law that's passed that's intended to help someone, there's always unintended consequences that you do harm to someone else, whether it's intentional or indirect, or whether it's just taking away a little heck or chip of their liberty or freedom. But again, in things like this, we have to look at the greater good in the sense that you don't have a problem, but your neighbors have a problem, and we can't help your neighbors, some of your neighbors, without impacting you. So do you turn your back on it? Do you ignore it? I mean, it's just not, I just want you to understand it's not so simple for us.
No, I understand. I totally understand that. And that's why, after asking and talking and trying to understand who I'm talking to, I don't have a sense that there's any agenda here. At first I did. Trust me, I did. I know that not to be true now, especially after working with Mr. Governor and everything. It's a sense of trying to do the right thing for everybody. And we have some healing to do there, because there's some raw emotions with some people there. And they're on fixed incomes. I mean, they're truly stressed. They know that if you're going to annex this, because those rights you're giving up, you're going to have to come continuous down probably Goldsberry, I would assume. From Pueblo, you're going to have to somewhere is continuous. There's a lot of people on fixed incomes there. I've talked to almost half of them over there. They're feared that they don't have the excess money to go into the city. So I don't know how you do things. I can go to a lot of things said. I need to leave that aside, because that's really feelings, But factually, when I look at it, the law doesn't always apply correctly, as you say. So I'm looking at Mr. Thibodeau doing the right thing, because people came to him with a problem. Although in our subdivision, no one lost water due to the aquifer. People may have some bad water, but no one really lost water. And I've been here before. In 1991-92, I lived in Long Lake Estates. Guess what? We bought a water line. Guess what? We got annexed. Guess what? I was for it. We were in the top aquifer.
That was when spot annexation was legal, and it's not legal anymore. The city wanted you.
Yes, they did. But, we wanted
Southern Trace and everybody, exactly.
Because if you saw the bathtub and you fill it up, you'd understand. So we were for that. The problem is here is a lot of people did the right thing to go to the right aquifer. I ground packed twice, make sure I had a great sand screen in there. I did all the things knowing when I went out there, like a lot of others did. And now they feel that they have to cough up another $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 or $7,000, whatever their lot is. And that rubs raw when they've done what they're supposed to do. Others may, maybe they should fix $6,000 and drill a proper well and had it set up correctly instead of leaning on something else. I don't know what the answer is. I do know that everybody sitting here is trying to find common ground to make everybody feel good about it, and we need to, because that's a community that there's a lot of neighbors out there, and there's a lot of non-neighbors at the moment, and there's a lot of older retired people out there. There's a lot of people that feel like they were passed over going down Harris to the right side of the circle. I talked to many of them. They never knew there was anything. Why weren't they not asked? Because if you're going to lay a pipeline today, would it not be a heck of a lot cheaper for them to attach now while the equipment's out there?
Let's back up. I was just wanting really an answer to that question, and I think we've taken your points previous to that. Okay. We help the people that requested help. That's what we're dealing with. Okay. If someone else on another block or a block over would have a problem, they ask,
First of all, this is really not in our norm to facilitate this kind of stuff, and we're not constitutionally or by charter responsible. We could just say, you got bad water, too bad, that's your problem. But because of the circumstances and the proximity of being close to the city, being able to use that we knew there was an option for immediate relief. So we're trying to facilitate that. The last thing we want to do is go ahead and have a blanket thing to say sign up for all these cities, and by the way, the city can annex you. Every time the city comes and annexes some of our property, we're kind of our property of the parish. You know how it is. We don't want to give it up. They want it.
Well, I don't want you to give it up.
So we're not facilitating any more than's necessary. We're trying to help the citizens that were concerned, and we'll continue to do that. A similar situation happened, I think, on Wild Oak. Is it Wild Oak last year? Well, I can tell you this from the city's perspective. I know there's some people out there on fixed incomes. I know we're in tough times. So is the city. They don't have the money to go out there to do what they need to annex you. First of all, to annex that, once it's there, they're going to have to provide sewer service, police service, fire, everything to you, okay, to start that annexation program. And they don't have the budget for that, so it'll be a while. And then the last thing I just want to tell you, if there are people out there with economic hardships, they're going to have trouble paying for it. I can assure you, the parish is not going to come seize anybody's house because they can't pay for this in any reasonable amount of time, or ever, And if they're that bad off, fine. I'll live in my house for the next 20 years. They can slap a lien on it, and when I sell it, we'll settle up. But that's a simplistic way of looking at it, and I'm not trying to give anybody any ideas, but just, hey, I got to get that. No, you understand what I'm saying? But we're between a rock and a hard place. But I want you to know, we're not actively the ones who are initiating this. We're trying to help some of your residents who came and expressed a need to us and trying to find some balance, and this is some strange territory. So I'm glad you're satisfied that there's no ulterior agenda, because this is really not what we prefer to be doing.
Well, I have a question with that, though. With annexation, you say they have to provide certain services. Seeing we have a passage and the citizens pay for the pipeline, what stops a passage to pay for a sewer line or everything else to provide it for the city if we can pay for a water line, you can make us pay for everything else too. And a sewer line out there,
we're not going to facilitate that. What I'm trying to tell you is if the city wants to annex you, then they're going to have to provide you with sewer services, police protection, fire protection, and garbage service. That's what everybody gets that lives within the city of Shreveport. So you will be a cost. They'll have to make an investment in your area to annex you. They're not doing that anywhere right now. They simply don't have the money.
Can I get that right for about 30 years?
I can just tell you what I've been told, what Mr. Tibbler did, we've been told. Because there's several properties right now, we've had a similar situation. One's been in existence, a similar relationship 10 years ago. Haven't moved on it yet. See, Southern Trace and Long Lake, there's a nice tax base out there with those expensive homes. There's a return on investment. And I'm not knocking your lovely neighborhood, but the return's just not there right now.
No.
So I wouldn't lose sleep over that, thinking they're going to be down there with city vehicles annexing you tomorrow.
Well, that's why I just asked you to relook at the ordinance, and maybe there's 12 mines here.
And I'm sure we'll review it. And I was just wanting to know, really, primarily, if you had any thoughts on how you thought you could make this more equitable, because we're going to have to study it.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that it may be per tap averaged out for the cost, they right equally.
Come up with any ideas. I'd appreciate you getting them to Public Works so that we're and having committee meetings on those. More ideas, the better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Williams?
Well, I think Commissioner Epstein asked most of the question I wanted to ask in terms of is there a fair formula for the residents in that area, because it seemed to be a mixed income residence, and one side doesn't fit all. I think it's unfair if you don't have a fair formula to decide the people on fixed income and those are a middle class income are going to be paying for the same water, but they can't pay at the same rate because they don't make the same money. If we can come up with some type of fair formula that would be fair and equitable for all the citizens in that area, I think we should delay any action on this right now because there are some uncertainties in the ordinance. We don't want to do anything unfair to the residents in that area. So I hope that the commissioner of that district would just, is there any time frame on this at all? Can we work out some common ground, some solutions, some compromise that we feel is unfair? If there are any other examples of the past where the same situation came up, how did we work out some solution then?
I'll be glad to answer that. I was going to save my comments till last, but you asked the question. This all started, we had about 300 people show up for a meeting, and we had about 3 or 4 different meetings out in that part of town. And in fact, the complaints of the water complaints were not coming from this particular area. This is not one of the subdivisions that showed a whole lot of concern. But what we tried to do, and you can ask Mr. Grubb, we had a couple of loud conversations about just what you talked about, Mr. Romero, about I didn't think it was fair that if you had a 100-foot lot and someone else has a 200-foot lot, that you should have to pay the same. But in state law, there was no other way that we could come up with an ordinance that would allow us to help in any way in bringing water service. So we had to go by, that's why we used the one having to do with streets. And that's where everybody pays for where their frontage is, and that's the way it was either that or nothing. And, no matter where you live, if you don't have water, you don't have much. So when 300 people show up 2 or 3 different times and they're concerned about it, and I thought that we had an obligation to try to help, although it's not our legal obligation as the commission to do anything. We could have said, folks, there's plenty of bottled water at Walmart, go buy it. But, I don't think that's the way we ought to do business. And as far, from what I understand in your particular situation, in your Ellsbury area, although the assessment will be made according to footage, I think those people who signed up have said, look, what we're going to do is we're going to take the total cost, divide it by the number of people that are tapping in, and so if somebody has a 500-foot and I have a 300-foot, we're all going to pay the same. I mean, that's remarkable for a subdivision to be willing to do that, because there are some people who have much longer, wider lots, and they're helping to pay for the ones with the lesser frontage. Yeah. So they did that as a neighborhood, and I think they're going to make a payment. As I understand, they're paying for this thing as soon as it's completed. Is that right? So what and the only reason they're even coming through us is so we can assist them with the 10% discount or rebate that we said we would give the neighborhoods that were eligible for this particular water subsidy. And I think, if you remember, about a month ago, we had a list of all the houses of people who had signed up and what their property taxes were they paid. They're going to pay us back pretty quick. The 10% that we're giving them will be paid back in the first year, because every one of them pays a lot more property tax than what that 10% is. So we may want to look at the ordinance again and see if we can tweak it, but we spent a lot of time and effort on this, and I was in full agreement. I still don't think it's fair that when you just do it by lineal feet, but that's the only way we could do it. And I think it's more important for people to have an opportunity to have good water than it is for everybody to be happy. And so we just followed the rule. The rule said when 60% of the people sign up, then this is how you go about doing it, and that's basically what we're doing. We have, I think, a minimum of 62%, depending on how you count it. We have a minimum of 62 all the way up to 75%, depending on how you count the frontage, the footage that people have agreed to hook up. So, if we're going to help people, then let's help them. If not, then let's just, toss the ordinance out, because I don't want to have this kind of problem on everybody that wants to do this. And really, I'm surprised there haven't been a lot more people that wanted to do it. But this is just a response to the neighborhood, and there have been periods of time in the past several months that if somebody called me and asked me about water, I'm sorry that I ever said we'd have a meeting. because we were trying to help, and it's just become a monster. But I still think even though that's happened, it's important that if we can help, we help. It's really not costing us a whole lot of money to do that. So that's where I stand, and I hope that we will pass this today, and I have no objection to looking at the ordinance again to see if we can make a better ordinance. But right now, I think it's a state law that was really holding us up. Mr. Williams, were you finished?
No, you finished for me.
All right. I think, Mr. Glove, you were next.
Mr. Thibodeau, you addressed most of what I wanted to say. I wanted to address the equality issue that Mr. Romero raised for a minute. There is a specific state statute that authorizes these extensions of water services. It's not the same statute that applies to the extension of streets, but it's very similar, and it's more or less identical when it comes to the methodology for payment, in that in both cases it contemplates payment on the basis of front footage per property owner. So,
sewage and water.
Sir?
Sewage and water.
So, I think if the commission is going to go forward with this, the assessments have to be on that basis. The other thing I want to make sure everyone's aware of is that this is just but one step in this process. You're going to see, this is going to be back before y'all again for the purpose of levying the assessments once the project is done. And when you levy the assessments, which is obviously done before the payments are made, you have to make a particularized determination in each case, at each assessment, that the property, that each piece of property is being enhanced in value by at least the amount of the assessment in order for that to take place. I understand the argument that in a water line extension it might be more fair to make the assessment on a per tap basis, but unfortunately our authority, the Commission's authority to do these types of projects is prescribed by this particular state statute, and the statute prescribes the methodology for assessment, and it's front footage basis, so that's why the Commission's ordinance reflects that.
All right, Mr. Lynn.
My question's for Mr. Grubb. In 50 or 75 years, should the city decide to annex this neighborhood or any other neighborhood, with that infrastructure already in place, is the city obligated, since they do not have to spend that money twice, are they obligated to reimburse the homeowners in any way, shape, or form, or is that something that could be included?
No, sir. I mean, it's common when it's common when infrastructure like this is built with private funds that it ends up being dedicated to the municipality anyway, because once it's built and operational, it's a liability in that all it requires is maintenance, which is expenditure of money. So this water line will end up being donated to the city, and the neighbors will want that to happen because then they're absolved of any responsibility for maintenance.
And then also, I'd just like to say I am going to support this, and I'm going to support it today. And one of the reasons why I am, just to touch base, that if a person didn't invest $10,000 in their well initially and they invested a smaller amount, if they don't have water and they move out of their house, then that would depreciate the value of the houses that did put in the $10,000 for their well with this gravel pit, and I will be supporting this today. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
As some of you know, I attended most of these meetings along with Mr. Escaday and some others, and it's a tough decision, but we do many things here sometimes to help people that live in our parish. And if you were at the meetings and you saw what we saw and you heard what we heard, it's the right thing for us to do, to step up to the plate to help these people. So I am supporting it. Thank you, sir.
All right, having no other speakers, cast your vote, please. Dominate. And that passes 12-0. Ms. Lynch voted against it. Passed 11-1 in favor. All right.
Local assessment ordinance number 48 of 2012, ordering the construction and improvement of water line within the right-of-way of a portion of Split Oak and Green Oak Drives.
So moved.
Second.
See no speakers. Cast your vote, please. That's 12-0. That's it.
Ordinance for final passage, ordinance 5201 of 2012, amending Article 6 of Chapter 26, Code of Ordinance for Parish of Caddo, relative to Section 26-182, Schedule A, speed limits on Hemperley Avenue and Chatelawn Drive.
So moved. Second. Moved by the chair, second by Mr. Dominic.
A question.
Ms. Lynch?
How long is this street?
Mr. Ward, can you help us?
How long is the street?
The Maggie and the Jennifer together are less than half a mile.
This is Hemperley and Chatelawn.
Yeah, it's about an eighth of a mile from Chatelawn and another eighth of a mile for Hemperley.
Is this in response to citizens' request?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
What was the particular issue?
They would like to have children at play signs installed, but we can't do that due to the MUTCD code. So we did go out and put 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs up. They were very unhappy with that. They've since then contacted Commissioner Thibodeau and requested that the miles per hour be reduced to 15. This is the only 15-mile-an-hour streets that we would have in the parish if y'all pass it.
Okay, so it's the fact, is there just a lot of families in there and a lot of children?
There's a lot of children. There's a lot of children. There's about 10 homes between East Chatelawn as well as on the east side of Chatelawn as well as Hemperley.
Okay, thank you.
It's a dead-end street, so there's a lot of kids, a lot of potential for situations to have.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Cox?
I was just going to give Ms. Lynch some information. This is a family-oriented community, a lot of kids there. We've had trouble. This was my district, and Mr. Thibodeau's in it now. But on these streets, they kind of like connect together, and we do have problems with younger teenagers with cars having a problem with at one time taking up the signs that we would put down. So there is a problem that needs to be addressed, and this would be one way to do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Escudé?
You should say this was a dead-end street?
Yes, sir.
And it's approximately how long?
Eighth of a mile for Chatelawn off of Linwood. It goes eighth of a mile, then it makes a 90-degree turn north on Hemperley for about another eighth of a mile to a dead end.
Then it dead ends?
Yes, sir.
At the and it runs off of what road?
Linwood.
Linwood. Is there a sign at Linwood that said it's a dead end?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, yes?
Yes, sir. As well as a brand new 25-mile-an-hour spot sign sitting right there.
Okay, so really, if people are aware it's a dead end, you should only have local traffic. There's no through traffic.
Right.
Okay. Well, then, one, it's hard to enforce on a dead-end street. It's going to do very little good. It's up to the neighbors to comply. The deputy or somebody's not going to hang out there because it's a dead-end street. And if anybody's ever given it a ticket, my guess is it's probably going to be somebody that lives on that street. So that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Cast your vote, please. Passes 12-0.
Ordinance number 5202 of 2012, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorizing.
Come on, second.
Moved by Ms. Lynch, second by Mr. Williams. Cast your vote, please. And that passes 12-0.
Ordinance number 5203 of 2012, amending Article 6 of Chapter 26, Code of Ordinance of Parish of Caddo, relative to Section 26-190, Schedule J, local traffic only on Jennifer Lane and Maggie Lane.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by the chair, second by Mr. Lynn. Cast your vote, please.
Call the vote.
That passes 12-0.
Ordinance for introduction by title. Ordinance 5204-2012, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the general fund in the amount of $10,500 for the purchase of portable electronic devices. Caddo Parish Commissioners. Ordinance number 5205-2012, amending the budget of estimate revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund in the amount of $20,000 for the KTVS Independence Day Festival. Ordinance number 5206, to relocate the polling place for precincts 139 and 157, District 1, from Mooringsport Community Center, 603 Latimer Street, Mooringsport, Louisiana, to Caddo Parish Fire District 7 Building, 122 Croom Street. Ordinance number 5207, to amend and reenact Section 32, Article 3 of Code of Ordinances to include the offense of possession of marijuana, synthetic cannabinoids, and hallucinogenics for the year 2012. Ordinance 5208, to deem property surplus and authorize the transfer of surplus property owned by the Parish of Caddo to Northwest Louisiana Rugby Foundation Incorporated. Ordinance 5209, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell parish's tax interest. Next, we move to the work session minutes. We need to approve and ratify those minutes.
So moved, Chair. Moved by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Johnson. Cast your vote, please.
Joyce says she seconded it.
Mr. Johnson put his hand up. I moved. What happens when you're dealing with an old president?
We have no resolutions. We move to new business. We have selection of an official journal for the Caddo Parish for the year July 1, 2012 to June 30th, 2013.
Move for the Caddo Citizen Shreveport Sun to be the official journal.
Motion by Mr. Dominic, second by Mr. Williams for the Caddo Citizen Shreveport Sun. Mr. Cox.
I move that Shreveport Times become our official journal.
Second. Okay, we've got a motion for the Times, Mr. Cox, and then second by Mr. Williams. Mr. Escaday?
That was
okay.
My motion.
Okay, we deal with the amendment or the second one first, the first one second. Okay, the first one is for the Times. Cast your vote, please.
Wait, you're not asking for any discussion on the motion, or we just...
There were no names up there.
Well, man, you're moving fast.
He knows I got to go back to work.
Okay.
I just wanted to discuss it. Go ahead.
I would like to say something.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I know everybody's got their reasons, but this is the first time the Times has offered the very best competitive bid. It is the best bid. It reaches tons of more people. I know on the other hand we say the Citizen and employs people. Well, the Times employs lots of people too. And if for nothing else, if we can't do anything based on it, then I don't think we ought to maybe bounce it back or forth if you want to help both sides of the community, if we're really worried about everybody being employed. But the bottom line is that this year's opposition to the Times is for totally different reasons than in the past. In the past, it's always been because they were expensive and more money. Well, they're not. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Lynn.
I'd like to recognize that the New Orleans newspaper is having to go to 3 days a week, and that big newspapers are hurting just as much as any other business. And also in the past, that has always been, never mind that it goes out to 50,000 people instead of 8,000 people, and anybody that wants to know what our minutes are going to know what day of the week they're printed on. And again, it is less per agate line, and then when you factor in that it's going to 50,000 people rather than 8,000 people, that brings the cost down even lower. That's all, Mr. President.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir. I punched in.
George,
Yes, sir.
Could you clear the board, please? So if
It is cleared. It doesn't clear it off.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Bowman.
Like last year, certainly understand the arguments that are there, but as the representative for District 5, in which the Shreveport Sun is located in, I have to vote for what's located in my district. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? All right, this is voting for the Times. Just vote if you are in favor. If you are against, do not vote.
That's for the Times.
For the Times. Let me clear, what are we voting on? We're voting for the Times. Hold on, raise your hand. Wait a minute. Vote yes if you are for the Times. If you are not voting for the Times, do not vote. Wait and vote for the next. Clear me, because I want to make sure I'm clear.
Go away. It's gonna, don't do it no more.
You have to go as no.
Then you'll have to push no then.
He did, he's fine.
Okay, all right. Has everybody voted who wants to vote? All right. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor of the Times, and
Mine will be clear.
all right. Now we'll vote on the Citizen and the Sun. Cast your vote, please. I'm Never Land. I can't vote twice. I voted yes for the second time, and I can't do that. So whatever my vote shows up does not count. So something's wrong.
Should be on phone.
Yeah. All right, it had 7 votes, so it passes. So
You voted
Better Citizens 347 will be our new favorite for this year.
All right, next we move to confirmation of updated non-government organization appropriations applications as recommended by the CBO's NGO Appropriation Committee.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Lynn, second by the chair. See no speakers, so cast your vote, please.
Well, let me be point of order. We voted on the application process?
Yes, that's what we're voting on, the confirmation of it.
That's all the votes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 5 in favor. Okay, I'm sorry, 6.
No, 6-5. Say 6-5.
You gotta have 7.
All right, he just left. We
wait
need, do we
a
need
minute.
7 for
It's just a
confirmation?
motion, it's just a majority.
No.
Mr. Grubb, do we need 7
Correct.
for confirmation, or do we need 6?
You need, for confirmation, you need a majority of the
Of
commission
those voting?
present. That would be majority.
All right, then, we'll give Robert rules of order. 6 yes, 5
Point
no.
of order, Mr. President.
No, we had the point of order. Ms. Bowman?
Yes, sir. My vote didn't, I guess I messed the wrong button.
Well, she didn't,
Thank you.
Kind of like yours came up just a minute ago where...
I'm not arguing with you, Ms. Bowman.
Thank you. Amen.
All right, so then it's, it'll be 5 or 6, so it does not pass.
Ms. Bowman's vote says no.
Wait, it would pass.
You right? No, it did not pass. Ms. Bowman's vote is not yes, it's no. So that gives us 6 no's and 5 yeses.
Where'd David go?
He left.
Still did 6-6. Fair.
He left without voting, I guess.
He did, correct.
He did.
I need all that, man. This ain't Congress.
Next, we have confirmation of appointment for Mr. James R. Alexander to Caddo Parish Fire District Number 7 Board. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dominic, second by Ms. Bowman. That's right.
Wasn't that Stephanie that seconded something for me? I'll say thank you. Say thank you.
Y'all sound alike.
Mr. Thibodeau? Mr. Thibodeau, you haven't voted? All the votes? Next, we have confirmation report of Mr. Charles Bradford to Pine Hill Water Works, Number 8 Board. Fill expired term, Ms. Evelyn Thomas.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Williams. Please.
Move for adjourn.
One to adjourn.
Mr. Thibodeau? You have a vote?
Mr. Thibodeau, you voted yes.
Mr. Thibodeau, I need your vote, sir. That's all of it.
It's not a
Mr.
joke.
Jefferson?
Yes, sir. Now, with all this modern technology, could we please get this thing fixed?
Yeah, because we don't ever know, I never know what's gonna pop up on the screen.
Yeah, we need to get this fixed, or rip it out of here and put something that works.
Yeah, we've been complaining about this all year, and
That's all I have. Last year too.
so we need to get it straight. Hey, we have a motion to adjourn.
You got too much, man.
And we adjourn.
Don't make no sense.